due respect, what the heck is going on? BBM should know na this is gonna create a backlash na pwede magkaroon ng blowback dito. Matagal na binabantayan itong issue na to. Matagal na sinasabi ng mga Duterte na ang tunay na corrupt ay mga Marcoses. It's not like the Marcoses have the best of reputation on good governance. This looks like a parang own
Inflicted.
goal eh. Own goal. I forgot the German term for that, yung you like you when you own goal yourself.
Yeah.
This was not a forced error, if I can put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it coming, but they were so blinded by the election. For them, it's the be all and end all to win in the election. Saka na yung problema later on. But the casualty will be the president because the people will blame the president.
Kaya I'm surprised BBM is not saying it, that he's gonna hold the empty bag, right? At the end of the day, gagamitin laban sa kanya yan because in a way, there's a kind of a cynical understanding na ganun talaga mga politiko every election. They're gonna find ways to have a fiscal space for the elections to come. Now, going back to this, Justice Carpio, gaano kadelikado ito for BBM? Because as we mentioned early on in this program, mukhang nag-narrative shift na, no? Medyo the momentum has shifted. There's a very few discussion of Sara Duterte's confidential fund. Sabi nga ni Sara, di ba? Parang sabi niya, maliit lang naman yan, millions lang yung pinag-usapan. Billions ang nakawan dyan, kumbaga, di ba? This kind of feeds into that kind of narrative, right?
Well, itong PhilHealth, that's a gut issue because people will feel if they'll be turned back because there are no funds, instead of PhilHealth shouldering, at least they should shoulder 25% or 50%. At least if they shoulder only 10% of your medical bills, palang wala yun. That doesn't mean anything. Magagalit talaga. And the president said, I assure you there will be no diminution of benefits. Pag meron, sira siya. Parang 20 kilo rice yan. Hindi mangyari eh.
Well, sabi nga ni Ronald Llamas, yung ultimate dream niya magkaroon ng 20 pesos per kilo na bigas. But mamaya na tayo siyan kay Sir Ronald. Justice Carpio, is this a question of curbing your greed problem? Is it a question of embarrassment of riches problem? Is this a problem of let's just juice it out while we're in power because we don't know what's gonna happen next? Ano bang instinctual read mo dito, Justice Carpio?
Well, I think they miscalculated. They think na makakalimutan yan. Pag nanalo na tayo, we will say that's the voice of the people. So they think, but gagamitin ito nila Duterte against them eh.
100%, 200%, I would say 200%.
So this will not go away, and the moderates, the people like us, will not let this go also.
Exactly. And that's why we're having this discussion, Justice Carpio, kasi si Ronald nung isang araw, purong banat niya sa mga Dutertes at mga... So obviously...
But it can still be salvaged, huh? It can still be salvaged. All
Okay,
the president
if it's
has
gonna
to
be
do is
salvaged, Justice Carpio, give me step 1, 2, 3. So what should BBM do in the next 2 days or 1 week?
the president can ask Congress to pass a supplemental bill to give PhilHealth because mandatory yung sin taxes eh. Sabi
Right.
ng Internal Revenue Code, directly and automatically remitted to the PhilHealth yung collection. That's about per my count kanina about 70 billion. Ibigay na nila kasi batas naman yan eh. They should follow their own law, the law that they pass, the Congress. So, pwede pa rin eh. Pwede niya ihabol yan eh. Tsaka yung 12 million na hinihingi ng education, ibigay niya na.
He has that. I don't think enough people will overrule his veto, no? Malabo na mag-overrule ng veto yung mga kongreso, no?
Well, the congressman I think, will just follow kasi they know it's the reputation of the president here that is at stake, no? His popularity is at stake here. Kasi ultimately siyang i-blame nito eh. Kasi dati, ang he could have pwede niya masabi na I submitted a very good budget, pinalitan ng Congress, but he had the means to veto it. Hindi niya, ang vinito niya yung mga harmless provisions, unfunded items. It doesn't mean anything.
Immaterial.
Immaterial. Talagang ka, parang linoloko tayo. That's the effect. Sabi nga ni Cielo, ginagago tayo.
Cosmetic na medyo sablay pa. I'm gonna be with Cello next week, so I think we're gonna continue this conversation with her next week. But going back to this Justice Scorpio, again, just to be clear, it's not like sinasabi natin na wag natin i-criticize yung mga kababalakan at mga kontrobersiya pagdating sa budget ni BBM. But what I want to emphasize here is that shouldn't we also, we as in genuine progressives, genuine advocates ng good governance, yung mga tao na may adhikay na talaga magkakaroon ng demokratiko at progresibong gobyerno, shouldn't we also be worried na sinasakyan ng mga Dutertes ito eh? Kasi sabi ko, yung narrative ng mga Dutertes, I don't know if you saw there's this graphs, Justice, na parang sa isang banda, si Sara Duterte, parang 150 million, whatever. And then yung kay BBM, billion, 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 billion. Essentially, the message is, small time lang ginagawa ni Sara, even if, assuming mali, ang totoong kriminal, ang totoong korap ay talaga mga BBM, no? Yung ganun yung narrative ng mga DDS eh. And my sense is, actually, it's an effective narrative. Shouldn't the genuine opposition, us, in many ways, the people who carry the conscience of the nation, shouldn't we be conscious na while we're calling out itong mga kababalaghan ni Marcos, also not forget na pagdating sa bilyones, there's Farmali, there's Pogo, there's DOH, there's confidential fund. Can you remind our good friends about the billions of questionable practices by the Dutertes, Justice Carpio?
Yeah, we should be doing that. That's why, we filed the case before the Supreme Court regarding the confidential funds, and we're thinking of filing another case regarding the Sinovac, no? Because up to now, nobody knows the price at which we bought the Sinovac. Thailand and Indonesia already released the price at which they bought Sinovac. Tayo hindi pa. So, bakit hindi, pag pareho lang presyo, bakit hindi ilabas? Baka mataas masyadong presyo natin, kaya hindi linalabas. So, we are at it. But of course, the issue of the day is the budget because that's recent. But we're not forgetting what the Dutertes have done. No? Like, for example, in the drug war, no?
That's what I'm saying, Justice, right? Unang-una, before we even go to Matabato and drug war in JK, because my contention is, if there's greater evil than corruption, is killing people en masse, right? But before we go to Matabato and ICC, I want to talk about this. Shouldn't also the genuine opposition keep also reminding people na ang ugat talaga ng problema sa corruption na hindi lang pork barrel, kasama din yung confidential fund, which is essentially the brainchild of the Dutertes.
Kadugtong yan, Richard. The confidential fund of the president under Duterte was enormous, humongous. So that was the one that was used to give reward to the extrajudicial killers, no? So magkasama yan.
Magkasama yan, di ba? And in many ways, if this is Dante Alighieri's hell, kung level 1 or 2 kay BBM, level 7 na yata yung ginawa ng mga Duterte, di ba? I mean, sabi ko, hindi ito usapan ng lesser evil. Ang usapan dito, greater evil. Right? Ang usapan dito, greater evil. Kaya sabi ko sana yung mga kasama natin sa civil society and opposition should not forget the big picture here. No? Justice Carpio, how worried are you about the Dutertes riding the budget scandal issue and criticism to essentially whitewash everything na inexpose ng Quadcom, inexpose ng mga kung ano-anong hearing dyan, inexpose ng mga investigations, inexpose ng mga reports and discussions about yung mga questionable practices ng mga Dutertes, whether it's on EJK, whether it's on confidential fund, whether it's gentleman's agreement with China?
They know, and they will use it. they know that their biggest counterpunch, strongest counterpunch against the against Marcos will be the budget. That's the biggest counterpunch. So they'll do that.
Yeah,
I have no doubt, and they're
counterpunch.
doing
Yeah.
it already. And we foresaw this. We anticipated this, but they still continued with it. I mean, Congress still continued with it.
But nevertheless, doesn't that mean that like we, the conscientious citizens, or at least those in opposition and civil society, should constantly remind the people na yes, kinikriticize natin ang BBM, pero wag natin kalimutan ng Farmali, Pogo, lahat ng mga kababalakan na ginawa ni Digong. In a sense na wag tayo magpaggamit sa mga Dutertes. Wag natin hayaan na sumakay sila dito sa issue nila. Wag natin hayaan na i-hijack ng mga Dutertes itong issue ng scrutiny ng budget ni BBM.
Yeah, we are doing that, no. But as I said, it BBM should just uh, to 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 clarify everything. He should ask Congress to pass a supplemental budget for DepEd and for PhilHealth. Tapos na. It's so simple.
It's so simple if you are a decisive leader. So is the problem here BBM is kuting? Ay, sorry. BBM is indecisive or
Well,
diffident. Is that the
I think
problem?
the way I see it, if he does not do it, he believes that PhilHealth any appropriation, you should get the funds out of PhilHealth because they're not using the funds. That's the only explanation. If he really believes, he must truly believe that PhilHealth is awash with funds and it should not be given further appropriations. That's the only. But in the financial statement of PhilHealth itself, signed by Ledesma, the president, everybody, negative equity, 600 billion.
Kaya nga hindi ko maintindihan yung defense ni Senator Poe, to be honest. Like, yung sinasabi niya, intact pa rin yung integrity, fiscal integrity ng PhilHealth. Justice Carpio, going back to this issue, what is your read naman dito sa mga Dutertes? If you were to compare Dutertes and the current administration, how would you compare them? Is it a question of greater evil, lesser evil? Is it a question of complete different degrees of threat to constitutional democracy? Kasi ako, Justice Carpio, I mean, to be clear about it, for me, the hard truth is this. Sana we lived in a different context, but the downfall of Marcos means the gain of the Dutertes, because Sara Duterte is the constitutional successor, right? So any discussion about revolutionary government, about coup d'etat, about people power, automatically, this doesn't benefit necessarily the good people. This benefits the Dutertes, right?
Well, there will be a struggle if the Marcoses stumble. It doesn't necessarily mean that it will be the Dutertes that will take over. There will still be a struggle between the anti-Marcos, anti-Duterte group, because there's a group that's anti
Genuine
to both of
opposition.
them, and also those who are anti-Duterte only. So it's not a given that the Dutertes will prevail. And you have Duterte who's old already, and the more people, 41% of people compared to 35 who are against the impeachment. So 41 are in favor of the impeachment of Sara,
This is
35
the
are
SWA
against. So
survey, right? Yeah. Can we
yes,
talk about that? So the survey says that the large plurality of Filipinos are open to impeachment of Sara, right? 40% almost.
41% against 35 who are against the impeachment. That's and the balance of about 9%. You can divide it also 45-35. So that will be a majority already. So it doesn't for me. It doesn't follow that Sara will prevail or will come out on top. because the Quadcom has done a good job in demolishing her credibility now.
Pero yun nga, yun ang concern ko. Justice, no one is talking about the Quadcom anymore. Everyone's talking about ACAP. Everyone's talking about PhilHealth now. Isn't that worrying to you?
Well, they could easily bring back the Quadcom committee report by starting the investigation, by filing the plunder case. They can, I mean, they can revive that. But if they hold back now, what will be in the headlines will be the budget.
And
But it's very simple to to pacify those who are against the budget now by just the president will just announce,
just a
Mr.
few tweaks.
Congress, yeah, pass the supplemental budget for PhilHealth and for DepEd, and I think people will calm down.
And now, Justice, what is your read of the January 13 peace rally by one of the major religious groups in the country? Ano to? Flexing of the muscle to show na malakas pa rin ang mga pro-Duterte camp?
Well, there's
Threat ba ito kay BBM? What the heck is going on there?
well, initially people thought that that was an anti-impeachment rally in favor of Sara. But it turns out even Malacanang wants the rally because they said no classes. You're free to to attend. And I understand that. Well, I saw it on TV that the Iglesia said no other group will be allowed to show its position. Only this is a peace rally, and the Duterte people cannot even wear their green T-shirts. So they've taken out Sara. This is not a pro-Sara rally. That's the message.
So what is it if it's not a pro-Sara rally? Because if it's against impeachment and against any major move against Duterte, then what is it? I just don't get it. Just
Well, that's why. Suddenly, it looks like that the Iglesia has dropped Sara Duterte. And they're now saying, we want everybody to talk about peace. There must be peace in our land. And they have banned any Sara Duterte banners. They cannot even wear the green T-shirts. So
what is peace?
So you have here.
Look at it. So they're pro-peace. What does peace mean in this context? Well, na-allow lang natin na bababuyin yung confidential fund.
They're saying that the problems of the country should be resolved peacefully in accordance with law. Yun yung kanilang ano. That's their message.
So against coup d'etat, ganon, RevGov.
Yes, that's the meaning of that. So that takes the wind out of the sail of Sara. Wala na, because they build this as a pro-Sara rally, and then suddenly Sara is out. And the next rally, I think that's January 18 or 19. That's the impeach Sara rally. Rally is to defend Sara, and wala yung defense.
Right.
We'll proceed.
Right.
And then we have the rally of which is mainly against the budget. So nawala yung mga the pro Duterte, the Duterte side has lost the platform. They don't have a rally.
Interesting. So that's your read of it. Kasi ang read ni Ronald is parang na-concede ang administration dun sa pro-Sara camp by giving it a kind of a national holiday aura. So your read is the complete opposite, na parang this group is just doing what it's doing para lang walang RevGov or coup d'etat, but not necessarily siding with the Dutertes.
Yeah, I think they realize that it's not in their interest to come out in favor of Sara. So they're saying peace kami, peace.
Peace means tayo. Di justice kasama tayo, di ba?
Kaya nga sinasabi nila. So, but of course, we have set our own rally already.
Sama na yung Miss Universe, pwede na lang.
Pag peace niyan, that means that's for the benefit of the administration. Because you're saying peace means you continue with the administration peacefully. nawalan sila
This
ng
is the
platform.
this is the postmodern situation. Anyone can spin this in their own favor. Oy, wala kami sinasabi ha. Peace lang kami. Oy, wala kami sinasabi. I mean,
At
this is
saka for the Malacanang to say, okay, holiday, everybody can join, and that means may ayusan na. I mean,
Ayan
they've come
tayo
to a
eh. Ang gulo
settlement.
talaga ng Pilipinas. So, Justice Carmen, you don't okay. So in short, you don't buy this argument na masyadong diffident and indecisive si BBM. What you're saying is that some maneuverings are still going on which still are ultimately cornering the Dutertes. That's your read.
Well, right now, I think the Dutertes have been outmaneuvered in this January rallies, the rallies of January. But the administration has to do something to just calm down everybody by passing the supplemental budget for DepEd and PhilHealth, because that's the solution. So that this will no longer be an issue, the president will no longer be unpopular. They have to solve this problem that way. If they don't do anything to give money